Welcome to Chapter 4. We're talking about strategic marketing plans. And again, after seeing Chapters 1 through 3 and building the base foundation of what marketing is, we're ready to start strategically looking at how we can help and work with organizations to really utilize marketing to its full potential and advantage. And the planning document provides a system and a resource for doing so. So this chapter is really important in introducing the concept of plans to you, as well as helping you reflect on an HTM organization or a recreation, tourism, event, food service, lodging organizations use of or non-use of marketing plans in their process. So we are going to spend a little bit of time here talking about it on these slides. Again, please take your chapter quiz as well as any assignments related to this week's exercises to get us into the planning process. So welcome, we're ready to go. So we know in this chapter it's simply defined as a formal written document that outlines our organization's current and future direction. As simple as that. And when, again, we say HTM, we're always meaning the vast array of businesses in our field. Hospitality-oriented, tourism-oriented, which includes, again, recreation, leisure, event, food service, lodging, travel and tourism, travel side of our business, etc. So this document simply is going to give us here's kind of where we were, here's where we are, and then here's where we want to be, and here's how we're going to get there. So for the rest of the semester, we'll look at creating that formal written document because it's going to force us to look back, to look in now, and to look to the future, and then utilize all the tools in marketing to develop a plan for helping organizations get there. I love marketing strategy. I think anybody, again, can do a tactical thing in marketing. Anybody can buy a coupon book. Anybody can buy a billboard or do a flyer. Not anybody can be strategic about why we're doing that coupon book and that flyer, measure the outcome, and know if that's working. So strategy is where we need to grow as an organization. When you reflect on those marketing plans this week, the real ones in the industry, you're going to see a lot of tactical action. You're not going to necessarily see a lot of foundation or base for why we're doing what we're doing and how we're using grounded research and data, or what we'll call big data, to make those decisions. Anymore, we have to do this, and we're going to see, I believe, a marked improvement in organizations actually utilizing heavier strategy to make their decisions because it's being required of us today. It just is. Smart business practice anyway, but critical in today's environment. So it really is going to define and identify, again, that strategy that it's going to help us build our organization's brand. And again, a brand is everything, as we know. It's the promise we make to consumers, but we're going to use this formula, this format, to actually strengthen, reinforce, and help propel in this sea of high competition, high economic uncertainty, high question on that disposable income that they might be utilizing with us, or business income as businesses learn to survive. It is the time to get strategic, and no other time before it. So we already know, based on what your interview conducted in Chapter 1 and your reflection on other students' interviews with people in our field, we already know what kind of the current state is. Why do only half of our organizations write a marketing plan, and why don't the other half? We've collected data again over the years, and in our chapter we've introduced some of those same reasons. It'll be interesting for me to have you reflect on, geez, have those reasons even changed? And I'm not sure we're seeing a lot of change yet. So we know some people just don't know how to develop a plan. And although we didn't necessarily see that in some of your comments, I've heard it certainly over the years in the data that I've gathered from people. They know about it, they understand it, they'd like to do it, they just really don't even know where to start. They have limited time, and you heard that as well, or no perceived need. You know what? I already know my business well enough. I know what works and what doesn't work, and I'm just going to do that. We have no competition. We really serve everyone, so we don't even have a need for that. But this one scares me a lot, because even in some of the comments from the folks that you interviewed said, hey, I know what I'm doing. Well, shoot, I know you know what you're doing because you're a really effective business person. But I'm telling you, if you're successful at this business and people are on your tail And what works today is not going to work tomorrow. And just because you're really insightful and keen on it doesn't mean every employee in your organization is. And if you're the one person who really gets this and knows this, if you really want to embrace the concept of marketing today, you need to teach others in your organization and engage others in those decisions. Being a one-person island marketing person is no longer going to be an effective strategy for the future. So that scares me a lot. Time I get, we just got to find time and make time, and hopefully we'll show the value of doing that. But this number 3 gets me. Everything changes so quickly. We certainly hear too, and I completely agree. In fact, in this environment, more so than 10 years ago or 5 years ago, things change fast. So maybe even though we talk about here an annual marketing plan, the time has come for us to look at a 6-month marketing plan, a 3-month marketing plan. And we see some organizations utilizing that. But there is great value still in the strategic planning process for looking for the future a little farther out still. Hey, where do we want to be as an organization in a year from now? Or a 5-year plan? What's the vision for that future? So strategic planning blends in with our marketing planning. We're going to look at the future. Maybe the action plans will get reduced. Certainly from a social media standpoint, we've seen that. We can't necessarily plan social media out maybe further than a month because of the reactionary and opportunities that emerge from that. But can we plan out what our target markets are going to be for the year? Can we plan out some of those other longer term tactical plans that we would need to make or commit to? Like we know we want to do some work with a partnership 6 months down the road with partnering with a rec center that's serving the same market we want to serve in our hotel. They're going to do softball tournaments. We know softball tournaments maybe in our community, the big tournaments next year or 2 years out. So we can have those in our marketing plans and know what we're going to do. So I know things change quickly, and I'm with you. And I know our industry talks about this, but I also know we can still utilize the power of longer term planning and then take elements of the marketing communication plan like social media and plan that out tactically in shorter amounts. So I understand it, I like it, but there's some opportunity there to still think differently. Another concerning answer that we've certainly heard over time is there's little perceived return for the investment. I get the whole marketing thing, I understand it, but the reason I don't write a marketing plan is, I think it's only when I have a lot of money laying around and it's not a necessity, it's a luxury kind of idea. So we've heard that kind of response too. I know you've heard, more specifically, some really good insight from your interviews, so thanks for your thoughtful time on that. Really critical that we understand why no marketing plan. If half of our organizations aren't doing one, what is the reason why? So when you go to work for an organization, whether you're working there now, interning there now again, do they have one? If they don't, why? Is it maybe because their why isn't strong? Do they really understand why they're in this business and have a passion for it and really want to utilize all of the tools that we teach and that we know through all research are effective? What is the barrier to doing that? And even if today, again, they've been really successful without it, boy, that scares me for your tomorrow or their tomorrow kind of idea. So lots of reasons why no marketing plan. We want to understand them so we can overcome those barriers and even start thinking about what kind of organization do you want to work for? Again, do you want to work for an organization that doesn't have a really solid why? Why they're doing what they're doing? And do you want to work for an organization that isn't willing to look at planning and strategy and being more effective and treating all stakeholder groups with that equal value of all critically important? Because without each other, we will fail. Without strong employees, without customers coming in and serving them well, right? Without great investors and people to serve and suppliers to buy things from, our business will not work. So we want to work all those relationships and really understand. And our marketing plan can help us formalize how we're going to make sure we invest in all of those areas, well, and use tools that reach them well and produce a good return. So, types of marketing plans. We know there are barriers to that, but we also know that there are values to why we write marketing plans. So what is a marketing plan first? Well, there's several different kind of planning documents. The annual organizational marketing plan is what we're going to be focusing on this semester. A 1-year out snapshot helping an organization look at what's happened, what is happening, and then more specifically, where we recommend they go in the future and some recommendations on how we suggest them getting there. So that annual agency marketing plan is what I'm asking you to review this week too, whether a student wrote it or the real organization wrote it, one of each, and we'll have a lot more information and insight to this plan. But there are also other kinds of planning documents that fall under marketing plans, and maybe there are even more that I just don't highlight today. But one is a new organization marketing plan. Now, you may have even written one of those in another marketing class, like Start Your Own Business and Write Your Marketing Plan. Certainly, as part of planning documents for new organizations, part of the business planning process is to have a marketing plan in it. It's not as sophisticated typically as what we're going to do in our annual plan, but at least it identifies how the agency is going to achieve this new concept in getting it to the people. So business plans have, again, a marketing plan component in it, but certainly as a new organization, the difference is there's no history with that organization and there's kind of no current. So really all you're doing is starting from here and projecting out what you're going to do. When we do an annual agency marketing plan, we want to work with a real organization because we want to look at history and we want to look at what's currently happening and how that's going to help us gather big data and information to help us propel us to the future. So again, writing a new agency plan, I used to do both kinds of marketing plans. When I opened up new hotels and markets because we were growing that Courtyard brand so quickly, that market planning process was very different. And so I need you to experience this semester more what you will face, a real organization walking in and how you could help them strategically in this planning process. Now, I should back up because most of you will never kind of be the official person to write marketing plans. A handful of you will like this concept enough and want to work in marketing more specifically in our field. But honestly, out of everyone in class, that will be very few of you. However, you are all operators in an organization in our field. You're all maybe investors in that. And so we need you to understand this marketing concept. So not only can you work alongside someone whose responsibility might be it, but you can influence and embrace these concepts and tools as another aspect of the operation and know how it fits into that big picture. But I also believe, regardless of your position in that organization one day, you will have a great influence on marketing and could help teach and grow people's concept of this very directly. So please know, I recognize not all of you are going to be the official marketing person. All of you will have influence on marketing, and all of you need to understand the concept of that annual plan and how that data and information helps us think about how we operate this business differently. Okay, it's really all of us. It's not just the marketer kind of idea. So, new agencies. Also recognize that every time we do something significant within our new organization, we would write a separate marketing plan just for something significantly different or a new offering. So I'm an amusement park and I'm going to have a new ride this year. And again, we know they try and do that every other year because you don't want your park to ever become stale or something people go, oh, I did that last year. So bringing and introducing new things, new ideas, new concepts is really important in the attraction side of our industry. And because of that, every time we do it, we're going to write a marketing plan just for that new offering, how we're going to launch that in the sea. We'll later learn, and I know you'd have in earlier marketing classes, the idea of the product life cycle. So at the introductory stage of anything, the tactics we use in marketing are very different than if we're well established in the growth stage as an organization. So at every one of those phases, we're different. So if our organization's been around for a long time and we have brand awareness and the competition is relatively flat and demand's kind of flat too, we're in the growth, or we're in the mature kind of stage. In that mature stage, we're going to use tactically different things than if I introduce now a brand new ride at my amusement park. That's brand new to people. It's back at the introduction stage. So I have to write a separate kind of plan for that to make sure I launch it correctly using the right tools versus the launch of my organization. So having said that, just know that we can have like these mini marketing plans in organizations and use the same concepts and ideas as it relates to market planning, but not what we're going to do here. So again, I'm looking for you to work with an agency that has history and help propel them for this annual plan. And finally, there are marketing and communication branding guidelines. And so they are kind of I call it a higher level planning document that helps establish for an organization what is an appropriate way to talk about us and what's an appropriate way to use our branding, things like our logo, our slogans, our colors, etc. So we keep great consistency across the organization, and we keep great consistency across our industry. So any of us working for branded organizations, whether they're franchised or not, we know and we see consistency. Marriott, Hyatt, Radisson, everywhere you go, you'll see the same logo use, etc. And it might be a franchised company, right? But we buy the brand, right? We rent it if we're a separate owner company and we want to have a McDonald's. I rent the brand, the McDonald's arches from McDonald's, pay them money to do that, and they give me all their standards, their training, their tools, but it's my company, using the McDonald's kind of name. So in those branding guidelines, those big companies always establish what the standards are, how we should operate and look. But even within small organizations in our industry, once we get this planning process right, we need to have a planning process for how we share our message and with what tools. So I've put a couple links onto Blackboard in this part of our chapter to share with you Grand Valley's branding standards. We have very specific, very good branding standards as a university. It's really quite impressive right here in-house. So take a look at the Grand Valley ones and see how those details are developed and written out, and again, the work that would take that. Travel Michigan has branding guidelines. We're not allowed to use that pure Michigan imagery without following the standards the state says to protect the brand and image of Pure Michigan. Again, very important. You don't want everybody just using your stuff. Well, that's a planning document in marketing. So you can take a look at that as well. Even Experience Grand Rapids, right in Grand Rapids, they do an amazing job sharing what they call voice and tone. And in this document, they talk about how they articulate and communicate the Grand Rapids experience, whether it's lodging or food service, things like that. So what a great document to do that. So I also included Marriott's branding guidelines online. Know that certainly the big monster organizations in our field have them, but really ultimately every one of us should have them. But shoot, first we got to get them to write a marketing plan, don't we? So we're going to work on that annual marketing plan first, and we'll eventually get to communication guidelines and brand guidelines. But we're not ready for most of our organizations if only half of us are even writing a formal marketing plan. So we know there's value, and we know the other 50% of the people you interviewed, they know it acts, and they say it acts as a roadmap. It provides, helps us with management control and implementation of our activities. It informs new people, new employees or board members or volunteers of their role and our focus. I think the marketing plan is a great training tool, and most of us have never seen our organization's marketing plan, and we should. If it's part of our job, we need to know where we're going as an organization, and we need to know how we're going to get there, because guess what? Me, the employee, you, the volunteer, right? We all can make a contribution to that. So an important training document to give everybody a sense of what their job is and where we're going. It'll help us obtain resources. Undeniably anymore, it's very unlikely that you could just pitch a concept or thought without significant base reasons why. This planning document gives people that feeling. I'll say this many times this semester, I call it the bobblehead, but when you read these plans, you should be shaking your head if you indeed buy into the flow and where they're going. And by the time you're done reading these plans that I'm asking you to this week, you'd either go, ooh, wow, that is not, I don't even know where they're going. I don't even know how they're going to get there. This is not good. Or if it's well written, you're going to go, I get it. I see it. I buy in. How do I help support that? So really important for helping us get resources. I think, again, one of the greatest values is because we can share where we're going or thinking, it's going to help stimulate more thinking and better ideas and better use of resources, etc. Once we share the vision, the plan, the ideas, boy, enable your whole workforce, and you're going to get a whole bunch of better ideas on how to help get there. There are other values too, and certainly your interviews suggested kind of different kinds of ways, but we know based on research, if done right, market planning documents are a critical asset to an organization. There are some, like Disney, that will never let you see their marketing plan. And why? Because they know the value of it. They feel as if it's their single greatest competitive advantage. The things they project for the future and how they're going to get there, they wouldn't want anybody to see that. And you know what? I wouldn't want anybody to see it either. Besides our team of people and where, right, all the people that work for us and how they can make contributions to that. This is a incredibly important document if done right. I'm excited to see you develop yours. Again, your job is to now look at the content and format for real and student plans. So here's some of the ones on Blackboard for you to review. Here's some of the student plans for you to review. Again, recognize every semester I've required different things, changed, adapted, etc. So don't think that you will do it exactly like this, but I've mostly picked the last 2 semester plans to share with you, so they'll be awfully close. If I showed you some from 10 years ago, which I could, but they've changed so much that we want to be more reflective of what are the elements of a current plan that would be most helpful. Certainly social media, the internet have really revolutionized. 10 years ago, not as prevalent today. We keep moving that forward. So look at the outline of the kind of elements in a marketing plan, and when we return, I'll be looking forward to what you've learned about marketing plans. Take the quiz, do a great job. Excited to have you continue with this, and really excited about having time to talk to you about your own organizational plan and how we'll continue to apply these theoretical concepts in a very real way and hopefully make that a more meaningful experience for you. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.